They say Donald Trump has a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy. No, it's not conspiracy. And by the way, if I were one of the presidents or dictators, as I call them, most of them are dictators, but they go under the term president, but I know them all very well, I would have been doing better than them. I would have had 100% over in this country by now. They're emptying their prisons. You know what that is? They're emptying their mental institutions into our country. Do you know the money they save? The money is massive. And we have all the problems. Nothing good is going to come out. And we have ISIS terrorists. We have terrorists pouring into our country. Just bad, bad things are going to happen. And it's all because of this incompetent president, the worst president in history. If he gets back in, Joe Biden has also vowed to pulverize Virginia families with the largest tax hikes in history. Congratulations. He pledged that the Trump tax cuts are, quote, going to expire, and if I'm elected, it's going to stay expired. That means he's going to raise your taxes by 4 times. It's going to be the largest. You know that, Len. He wants to give you the largest tax increase in the history of our country. It's going to decimate Virginia, and it's going to decimate every state, and it's not his fault. You'll have to take the heat. Maybe that's what they're doing. You'll have to take the heat. But they want to decimate because those tax cuts went more to the middle class and the lower class than to anybody else and the creation of jobs. But instead of a Biden tax increase, I will deliver a Trump and call it a Trump middle class tax cut. And all of my life, I said it last night, I've watched as politicians cut taxes. This guy wants to raise your taxes by 4 times, and people say, oh, let's vote for him. I don't know. They don't use the term liberal anymore. They use the term progressive, you know, because it's a nice-sounding word. I'm a progressive. But it's not a good word. It's a really bad word. And we will have a brand-new Trump economic boom. We're going to cut taxes. So we cut taxes substantially, massively, the biggest tax. And with a lower rate, we did much more business, much more revenue than we had before the cuts. In other words, we just did better. And Apple and Microsoft, all these companies were bringing their money back from offshore countries, from other countries. They were bringing it back into the United States because they essentially weren't allowed to from a practical standpoint because the tax was so high and the bureaucracy of doing it was almost impossible, they say. So we're going to do more tax cutting. And we're going to have this country at a level that you've never seen it before. And we're going to, you know, underfoot, under the ground, we have more liquid gold, oil and gas than any country on earth. And, you know, we had a thing called ANWR in Alaska. Ronald Reagan wanted to get it approved. He couldn't do it. Everybody wanted to get it approved. I got it approved. The first week of Biden, they disapproved it. The greatest tax, the greatest reserves, they say, outside of perhaps Saudi Arabia, could be greater than Saudi Arabia. Would have been so great for Alaska, but would have been great for this country. Massive, massive oil reserves, and they turned it down. These people are horrible. I've announced that as part of those tax cuts, I will eliminate all taxes on tips. A very simple statement. No taxes on tips. I got that idea the other night. I'm in Las Vegas at my place, which is a very nice place, having dinner with some people, big people, successful people, talking about the future of the country, and they're very worried about it. And the waitress came over. I said, how are you doing? Been there for a long time. And she said, they're killing me on tips. I said, really? They go after you? He said, you have no idea. They just issued new regulations that make it impossible for us to live. And I was actually surprised to hear it. No taxes on tips. And when I announced that last week, you know, my phone's lit up. I never saw anything like that. That was a very popular thing to announce, but it's a good thing. You earn the money, you keep the money. Every time you leave a tip for the next 5 months, make sure to write on the receipt, vote for Trump for no taxes on tips.